Hello, welcome to Hand and Gear Design. This is the video page where I show you how to put together the different models. Today we're going to be putting together the spinner UFO. This is a UFO where the body will actually spin around. Going to go over a couple general things first of all. First of all, with the wood, you'll notice there are two sides to it. This is actually, when I laser cut this, the top side, and you'll see a little bit of smoke around the edges there, but when it cuts through, it hits a metal grid below and kind of flashes up, producing this. Some people like this, some people don't. I leave it on, but if you want to get rid of it, it will sand off easily with just a light sandpaper. You can even use one of those disposable nail files, or you're welcome to paint over this. I highly encourage people to paint these models and make them their own. But just so you know, it's pretty much visual, but there are going to be two sides to that. So let's go over the parts of the model. You've got your main UFO body. You've got your base where the legs will attach. You've got the top, the center post where the spinner will attach, 3 legs for the bottom, 6 fins to go around the body, the upper wood dome, the bottom wood dome, and the spinner. Now this is a skateboard bearing. If you've seen fidget spinners, this is what they use in that. Just to be perfectly honest, this is a pretty cheap one. Didn't design this toy to last forever. So if you really want a better result, I would recommend going to a skateboard shop and buying higher quality bearing, but this should work for a long time for this toy and be just fine. So let's start by putting this together. I'm going to start with the base. I'm going to put this together in one shot, so the glue isn't going to fully dry on this. Parts are going to shift a little bit. I do have to cut the notches and pieces a little bit big because the wood varies in thickness just a little bit. And if I cut it too tight, the pieces don't fit together. So I err on the side of being loose. You will need glue for this to stay together. Mostly I just use wood glue, Elmer's glue, super glue will work. Because the bearing is metal, I am going to be using a little bit of a super glue on that to attach the metal bearing to the wood of this. So you could probably get away with just wood glue. It's not a high torque piece, but I think the super glue will hold it in place just a little bit better. So the one glue I don't recommend is hot glue. It doesn't hold that well and doesn't last for a long time. So let's put this together. I'm gonna move some parts over, and I'm gonna start with this. I've got some wood glue off camera and I'm putting it on with a toothpick. So I'm just going to take one of the legs, put the glue on. I'm gonna, actually, it doesn't matter, but so do the nice side up. So attach the legs like so. Don't need a lot of glue. So just putting it on. And I do recommend, if you've got the time and patience, to, let parts set, come back when they're set. Don't try to put too much together while the glue is still wet. Again, because this is a demo video, I don't have a lot of time, I'm going to do this all in one shot, and I'm just going to have to deal with parts shifting because the glue is still wet. So this is the center post. This is where the spinner will attach. You'll notice again there's 2 parts. I'm just going to slide them together like so, so I get a base like that. And this is where the spinner is going to go. I'm not going to attach it right now. I'm going to attach it to the spinner to the wooden base first, and this will give the legs a few minutes to set. So, I'm going to use a little bit of tin foil here to protect my kitchen table, and I highly recommend, if you're doing this on your kitchen table, you don't just glue stuff straight on it because it'll stick. So I'm going to take my super glue, put a few drops right here on the inside. And I just, it doesn't really matter which side of this goes up or not. I tend to put the balls facing up. And I designed this so it just goes right there flush. You know, this is flush with the table, that's flush with that. Like that. And should spin nice like that. So now I'm going to take my legs, which are still quite wet and floppy, but oh, excuse me, be right back, drop that. Super glue will stick to you very well, so be careful with that. Okay, pick that up off the floor, turn it upside down. This is going to be one of the major areas where, with the glue still being wet, it's going to wiggle quite a bit, but okay, so I now take this, take my post, insert it like so onto the legs. Can't put a ton of pressure on that because the glue for the legs is still wet. Take my base. You'll note how this has a notch that goes down there on the bottom. That's to hold the disc off. And I'm actually, just realized, jumping ahead just a little bit. So again, we'll put that there, and I'm going to leave this to dry, and I'm now going to put the fins on the body. So, nice thing about this model is the order doesn't really matter too much. Parts will fit together pretty easily. Some of my models, it is important to put things together in the right order, or it will be difficult to get pieces to fit. But this one is pretty simple. People always ask me what's the age range for this, and I really say it depends on the builder's patience and physical dexterity. This model probably wouldn't give it to too young of a kid, or would have an adult supervise them. 8, 9, 10-year-old shouldn't have, oops, sorry, keep that in camera. Shouldn't have too much trouble putting something like this together. Glue in the slot. Okay, so this does have a up and a down. You want to have the shorter part up and the larger part down. I'll show you why in just a second. Yeah, so glue in there. And once again, shorter section there, longer section goes on the bottom. Make sure you have them all facing the same way. And again, the part of this that's flush, it doesn't have to be perfectly. When I designed the model, that's how I chose to have it. So got that. I'm going to take the larger wood dome and this circle and glue them together. Just put some glue right there on the base of that. Put this on so they line up like that. Looks like I need a little more glue. And just to give you a little preview, when this is all put together, that will go like so. There. Okay. Oh, and probably should have done this earlier. Like I said, bottom dome. This is just decoration. Get it to look like one of the classic 1950s sci-fi movies. Going to put that dome right there, just roughly in the center like so. Hopefully that'll stay on for the video shoot. Okay, so now putting it together. So I'm going to very gently, because my wood is still, or my glue is still wet, put that through there. And it should be relatively snug. You'll see there should be enough space for this move. That's why you want the bigger piece down here. So there's rotation there. And yes, my legs are crashing because the glue is still wet. Put a little bit of glue. Oops. Excuse me, that broke apart, so I'm gonna just glue it together off camera again. Again, I would normally recommend gluing this, a couple pieces, letting the glue set, and then coming back, but for the point of demonstration. So now this just goes on there like that. I'm having to be a little ginger because everything's still, glue's still drying. Well, like that. And then the bearing should spin freely. So, and come on. There we go. So, got the top on. Woo. So, give you a side view, landing. All right. Glue's wet. One of my legs crashed. Stuff fell off. Anyway, have fun. Paint it, decorate it, make it look good. Make it your own UFO. Enjoy.